Hello friends and welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to talk about some ways that you can save some money every day. Especially at the moment, the rate that our pay is increasing is definitely not matching inflation, and families everywhere are feeling a little bit of a crunch when it comes to everyday spending. Various different things are going up, utilities, shopping, you name it, it's going up at the moment. So today I'm going to talk about a few different ways that you can save some money and reduce your costs each month. So we're going to split this into a few different areas. The first topic that I want to cover is food. A lot of people might think, well, food, I don't overeat, I'm not too excessive, there's probably not too much that I can do about this. But actually, let me tell you that for some people, it's definitely possible to save some money on food. And the first way we can do that is to eat out less, and that includes getting less takeaway. A lot of families will each weekend either go out for a meal or they'll get takeaway in, and these are really quite expensive when compared to home cooking. So if it's possible to cut this out completely, or at the very least reduce it a little bit, then you will start to see the savings racking up each week. Another thing that you can do when it comes to food is cutting out your more expensive foods. Now, these include things like alcohol, meat can be really expensive compared to alternatives, things like expensive coffees, try and make do with store brand, or by going to the coffee shop less each week. There are a lot of people out there who will want to go to a coffee shop every single day for a nice coffee, but these costs really do add up each time that you go. So if you can cut that down, then that's great. And when you do your shopping, think about the brand of food that you buy. So a lot of supermarkets have their own brand of everyday staples, cereal, bread, frozen goods. A lot of supermarkets will have their own brands of these, and they tend to be cheaper, and they don't tend to be that much worse quality. Sometimes they're actually even exactly the same quality. And what you can do is, when you go shopping each week, choose a new product and try and lower the brand that you're going to buy and see how you get on for that week. So for example, a spread that you would put on your toast in the morning, you can get different brands. Here in the UK we have Flora, that's the main one that everybody knows, but it's also quite expensive. Supermarkets do their own one. So just try it for a week, get a small tub of own brand spread, put that on your toast for a week and see if you really notice the difference. And if you do notice the difference, is it a difference that you can actually handle for a week? Can you make do with that cheaper product? Or is it something that you really have to have the better brand version of? If you really have to have the better brand version, then fair enough. I understand for some people you can't swap these things out for certain food types. Just try something else. But if you can swap it out, then you're going to make a saving on that staple that you eat regularly every single week. And then the last point when it comes to food is do not go shopping hungry. I have made this mistake so many times, it's unbelievable. You'll need bread at the end of the day, you'll pop into the shop, but it'll be after work, you'll be thinking about dinner, you'll be really hungry, and everything just looks so appealing and you want to buy it and eat it straight away. So you come home with cakes and sweets and chocolate, and this steak looks really good, and that pizza looks really good, even though you've already got something at home ready for dinner. You don't wait, you don't do the sensible thing, you just buy the expensive food that's right there because it looks really good. So yeah, if you can avoid going shopping hungry, then you can definitely save yourself some money this way. So the second area that we're going to talk about is in the home. And my first tip when it comes to saving money in the home is when you're looking at your utility suppliers for things like electricity, gas and water. So at the moment, these are just going up and up and up. Here in the UK, there's a really big increase happening on the prices of gas and electricity. And so really what you want to do is you want to start shopping around. If you're locked in for a while, then when that period has come to its end, have a look around, shop around some different suppliers. Don't necessarily go for the exact same one that you went for before, because other ones might be cheaper and you might save yourself some money that way. And that is true for Wi-Fi as well. A lot of people, they'll get their Wi-Fi contract, they'll be locked in for 2 years, but then after that 2 years, you'll get an email from whoever it is, they'll say, oh, this is your new price going forward, and a lot of people will just accept it. But actually, if you shop around, you can save yourself money and not pay the higher costs going forward. I do have some more tips on how to save money on your electricity and gas supplies, but to be honest, you could go into much greater detail on that. It could be its own video really. If you guys want to see that as a video, then just let me know down in the comments and I will make that in the next few weeks. And the next point then, guys, is subscriptions in the home. Now, if you're like me, you've probably got quite a few different subscriptions, but some of them might do the exact same thing and you might not need them all. So things like Netflix, Amazon Prime, Disney Plus, all of these TV subscriptions, do you get use out of all of them? Are there a couple that you could maybe cut back on and not use for a few months to save yourselves a little bit of money here and there? It's worth thinking about, because sometimes these subscriptions just stack on top of each other and we don't realize, and we're not getting the most out of them that we could be. Okay, so I have a few tips now when it comes to cars, and the first one is a big one, but it could save you a lot more money, and that is to consider downgrading to a cheaper car. If you need your flashy fast car, you know, for work, maybe you work in business, you go and see clients, you know, you like to leave a good impression. I understand that. A lot of people don't need the fastest car or the flashiest car, and that maybe they're making regular monthly payments that are higher than they need to, or they've bought it outright, and really you could sell that and buy something cheaper and, you know, put the difference onto something useful. Another benefit of downgrading to a cheaper car is that it might be more fuel efficient, which at the moment, with fuel prices being what they are, that's really helpful to cut some costs down for you. And on the topic of fuel, you can shop around for your fuel. A lot of people just go to the closest petrol station that there is. Mine is just down the road, it's by a big Tesco, and it tends to be pretty good, but I know looking around there are some smaller gas stations that are actually a few pence cheaper, but depending on where you are, I've seen that some of them can be up to 5, 6, 7, 10 pence cheaper than what's around them. So it really can be worth looking around. Even if you have to drive a few extra miles, the cost that you're saving per litre of fuel, really, it can add up and it can make it worth driving that distance. So it's worth having a look. Finally, consider a car that maybe is cheaper on repairs. So if you might have a vintage car that you really love, but it could cost a lot of money to just keep repairing it over and over and over. So try and find a nice middle ground of a car that's not too expensive, but it also doesn't cost an absolute fortune to repair it every couple of months. So my next tip is to do with buying exciting things and expensive things usually, and trying to wait before you buy them. Now, if you're like me, I am really guilty of this. I will see something on the internet or you know, on telly, and I think, oh, I really need that thing. I really want it. I must have it right now. And I'll buy it and I'll be really excited for it. And then a little while later, I'll think, do you know what? I didn't actually need this thing as much as I thought I did. I'm getting some use out of it, but maybe it's not as important as I thought it was. Now, a way to avoid this happening is actually just give yourself a few days. You know, you see the shiny new gadget, you think, oh yeah, I really want that. I need that. That's going to improve my life. Just let it tick over for a few days. And sometimes you'll find that in a few days, you actually don't need it as much as you thought before. And so you can just avoid buying it completely and save yourself the money that way. Often we're just getting caught up in the excitement, and after a couple of days, we realize, do you know what? It was just excitement. I don't need the thing. I'll be fine without it, and I can put that money towards something else. This also helps you to avoid buyer's remorse as well, because you know, sometimes we'll spend more money than we need to on something that we thought was going to be really exciting for us. It's not as good as we thought, and then that's it. The money's gone, and you kind of sat there afterwards thinking, oh, I might have wasted that money. And just by giving it a few days, you might avoid buying it and avoid the buyer's remorse that comes with that. Okay, so the next point is not really to do with saving money, but it's to do with making your money go just a little bit further, and that is with reward schemes. Now, certain cards can give you cash back on everyday purchases, and there are certain reward schemes websites out there that can give you cash back on certain things. So I'm not sponsored, but things like Chase, right now they have a rewards card that gives you 1% cash back on everything you buy. There are some exceptions, like I think vouchers, you don't get any cash back on vouchers. And similarly, there are websites such as Top Cashback. You look down the list, you can get quite a lot of cash back on everyday purchases. And this can really add up, you know. Chase 1% cash back, you spend £500 a month, then that's £5 a month that you get back in reward. It's nothing to sniff at. It's not life-changing money, but that is just helping you get a little bit further every single month. The only thing to look out for with this, and potentially a little bit of a trap, is that sometimes you can look down these websites and you see, oh, I can get 50% cash back off of this thing, but actually, did you need that thing? Were you going to buy it already? Or are you just being tempted into buying it? Sort of like a sale. You know, sales are the same. You might be tempted into thinking you're buying something. You think, oh, it's 50% off, it's on sale, so I'm actually saving money. But you're not saving money if you didn't need to buy that thing in the first place. So same with the cashback rewards. Just make sure you're only buying things that you were going to buy already. Okay, my next tip is to do with debt and credit card debt. And really, guys, you should be paying that off as fast as you can. So £1,000 debt on a credit card that's making 24% interest, that's going to rack you up an extra £240 of debt each year. And really, these are the things that can really add up. And if you can pay that down as quickly as possible, then that saves you so much money over the long term to spend on something else, to spend on food, to spend on fuel to get to work. It's really, really key, guys, that you try and pay down your high interest debt as fast as possible. And on top of the monetary value that you're saving, the relief, the weight off your shoulders, it stops roaming around in your head rent-free. It's really, really ideal to try and pay this off as quickly as you can. Okay, and finally, guys, we're going to talk a little bit about automated transfers. So a lot of bank accounts will let you set up automatic transfers each month. So let's say on payday, your check comes into your bank account, your main account, you've got so much money, but you know you want to budget a few hundred for food, a little bit for fuel, a little bit for some entertainment, because you don't want to get bored every month. A good way to do this is to set up an automatic transfer with your bank. So as soon as the money comes in, it goes out into a separate account that you keep. And that's also a really good way to budget and to make sure you don't overspend in one area. If you've got a little account set up just for food and that account's running low, then you'll know, oh, okay, I'm getting close to my limit for food. I've overspent a little bit, I'll know for next month. Or I'll be careful now with what I buy. I won't buy the expensive things that I don't need as much. I won't splurge. And it's a really good way to keep on top of and keep track of what you're spending each month in each area. Well, guys, those were my top tips for saving money. I really, really hope you found this one useful, especially at the moment with how things are going. I think there are a lot of ways that we can save money and just make lives a little bit easier on ourselves. One hobby that I think can be cheaper than a lot of other hobbies, like going out, going to the cinema a lot, paying a lot for expensive video games, is reading. And if you want to learn more about the reasons why I think you should read more, then please click here to see my video on it. Okay, thanks guys, and I will see you in the next one.